Welcome back, everybody. So today is the day you're going to learn how to play Black Magic Woman as performed by Santana, and that little Gypsy Queen part that's at the end of it, which I never knew was not part of the song, but technically that's another song, but we'll talk about that. We'll cover the chords and, of course, all the little noodling solo parts, which I think is why you all tuned in. All right. Well, hey, if you haven't done so already and you like this kind of thing, please jump down right now and click subscribe. It helps me out. And ring the bell, because the bell lets you know every time I drop new content, which I do every single week. All of my lessons have chapters in them, so you can jump right to the part of the lesson that you want to see and bypass what you don't. And if you're looking for other ways to support the channel, I appreciate that. There's thanks, which is a button right below. It's like throwing a tip in the tip jar. Or you can join my Patreon page where I've got chord charts and tabs for all the lessons that I do on YouTube, just like this one. You can join me there. All the links are in the description. Check it out. All right, well, this piece of greatness comes to us, most of us, I guess, by way of Santana, Carlos Santana. I never knew I knew that Black Magic Woman was actually written by Peter Green. Peter Green and Fleetwood Mac originally did this song, but Carlos took it, and that's the one we all hear on the radio. And also Gypsy Queen wasn't done by, or written by Carlos Santana. It was written by a guy named Gabor Szabo. I think I got his name right. Link to that is right here, but that came out a couple years before Carlos's version. So this is, you know, he mixed both of these together and gave us what we all come to know as Black Magic Woman. Okay, when we talk about Carlos Santana's tone, we're in standard tuning, and not exactly sure what guitar he used. I think he used SG specials and maybe Les Paul specials with P90 pickups. It sounds like that to me, but who knows? But it definitely sounds more on the Gibson side of things. And definitely lots of overdrive on this. And what Carlos does a lot that I can tell is he really likes to ride his volume knobs a lot for a lot of dynamics throughout his playing. So you want to crank the distortion, or not distortion, but the overdrive tone, whether you can get it through your amp or through pedals, but you want to get that plenty strong and sort of play with the volume, the overall volume that you're sending from the guitar to influence sort of the dynamics throughout the song. So that's my sort of lead tone right now. All right, so before we start jumping into the lead parts, I just wanted to outline the chords that sort of make up all the different parts of the song. There's really only 3 chords in the song, and it's based off of D minor, and there's an A dominant 7. Clean that up a little more. So D minor, A7, and then there's a G minor. And he does little flourishes on that. So one sort of time through on the, you know, on the verse format, you know, got a black magic woman. Got a black magic woman. So he does little pieces like that on the G minor. So all of the sort of variations of the G minor will be in the documentation I have on Patreon, but he does that little flicker. And it's not always the same every single time, but those are all sort of the variations on the G minor. Got a black magic woman trying to make me out of me. It's really it, right? So D minor, A7, D minor, G minor, D minor, A, D minor. And that's it for the chords. So all the different, you know, solos and everything is going over that structure, but that's the chord structure. Okay, so let's talk about the very intro of the song where the guitar is coming in. Overall, I think his playing is utilizing a lot of neck pickup and somewhat in between, or maybe some in between tones with you know, with both pickups on a Gibson format. Maybe with your treble not all the way maxed, but I just feel like it sounds like a lot of neck pickup on the tones that he does. But the very intro is interesting because you can hear him sort of turn up his guitar. It's really cool. You hear sort of the keyboard going a little bit, and they're all getting into it, and you hear him do this. I don't know if that came across right, but you know, I've got my sort of master volume on my guitar. You can do it however you want to do it. But he had this sort of before it starts kicking into it, which is great. But it's loosely off of a, you know, D minor. If you want to think about a D minor chord there, right? So you're doing a flick on and off on the 1st and 3rd fret. And I think it's, when you listen to the tone of the string, I think it is those first 2 strings, and that's why I think it's down in that first position. And then most of the soloing and figuring is going to be up here in this D minor position because of how each one of the little phrases sort of move into each other. You could play all these licks in many different places, but I'm going to set it up in the way that I think he did, or that might be easy for you, just because it puts you in place for every next lick that's going to go on. Okay, so here's the next part. Okay, so I do on that position again because of that very last part where you hear that. You know that's right there. And if you were to do that whole thing down here, you have to jump up here. And I just think that last D, you hear that ringing, and he add those 3 on top. So that's where I think he's playing it. All right, then we move to this part. Yeah, so that's all D minor, sort of pentatonic, until you move to the note that calls out for the A chord, which is that. Right? So most of the stuff that we're going to be doing, it's rooted in the blues and it's rooted in minor pentatonic, but it's also sort of incorporating the, I think it's a natural minor scale, but sort of those notes. But that's this note from an A, right? And that's why that note just lands perfectly on that chord change there. So that's just minor pentatonic rock. So was that. Now we're going to go and do our change to the A. Right? Those are the notes. But he does this pull-off thing, which I think forces his hand up here. So now we're going to go to a part where you're still in your D minor. We're about to transition to a G minor, and here's how you get there. That was where you went to the G minor. You're just making that part of a G minor chord. Love how they come out of that. All right, so that section all the way through. All right. Now from there they go into the verses, and we talked about that already. So let's go to the next lead section. That one's really cool. So you're just doing a normal bend into your D. And then we're going to go on our first string, second string, and third string. The first string is going to be a pull off. And the second string is going to be a bend up, bend down, then pull off. Whoops. And then down to our note for the A, which is an E. So is that part. All right, then our next phrase is that transition there. Getting to that higher level, higher order blues off your D pentatonic there. Then we'll do a big stab from 18, bending up 18 to 20. Okay, back to our D minor pentatonic position. Right, just rock, minor rock. We're going to go into this one, which is this is probably the lick that I associate most with this song. Those are all bends as far as I can tell, right? So if we're thinking about our D minor here, those first two are on, or first three are on your B string. You're bending on 13 up, bending on 15 up, back to 13 up, and then on your G string. Just beautiful. Then it's sort of back to what we did in the very beginning. Right, that was the same as the intro riff. And then we do this little climb, building off of our, where we were on that E note. Love that one. So. Get that little unison note in there. And then we do our climb. Up again. Then, right? Getting to your high D. So that climb again. So you're going to echo that you just did with this, which is a great way to link the two. Very smooth the way you get out of that. So that little run at the very end is you do your first string pull off 3 times, then everything else is 2 times. Take a pause, and then you climb back up. That takes you back into your D minor chord. Love that. All right, well, let's try tying the whole lead section together now. There you go. Okay, so now we go into the Gypsy Queen part of the song, the instrumental that takes us out. It's awesome. It's great Latin rhythm that takes you all the way through, and that kicks off with just 7 pairs of open D and A strings, 4th and 5th string. It's just a jam around a D major chord. Then he does this beautiful little so those little, you know, they sort of flicker in between. And some of them are where you pull off on that E string. Without the mistake. Right? So he does this. Love that. Carry this note. So that's a great little lick right there, right? You know, so it's off of the D minor pentatonic, that one, right? Where you normally just bend all the way up. So that first one, it's like a very slow bend, but you never really get there, right? The first one is not, maybe. And then the second one, you eventually get there. So that's just keeping that major. Because you're bending up, you sort of do a pull off there and then you slide down to your D. And then palm mute. You have to palm mute your first string. This is where you're going to do your speed picking. Highest fret you got, the 22nd fret. Hopefully you've got a 22nd fret on your guitar. So that is just making sure that you're slightly muting that first string. And you want to keep that wrist loose, but you want to keep it planted on the string. And you're just sort of dragging that pick across it. And a good technique that you can do on that is turn your pick. So don't have your pick, don't have it go completely perpendicular to the string. Tilt it a little bit. So you're sort of catching it at an angle. And it's easier. C chord. That's just a C. You're dropping the root 1. And you really only need to catch the A string as you're changing to your D chord. And then this great little Latin part. Right, so that's just When he gets that D string, he starts picking it twice. I don't think it's an echo. I think he's actually picking it twice. Anyway, you hold that for a bunch of times. And then your final is a big C chord. Drop your root down by 1. And a big A chord. Big A major there. Okay, well that is Black Magic Woman and Gypsy Queen. And I hope you learned something new today. If you like what you saw, click subscribe if you haven't done so already. Ring the bell. The bell lets you know when I drop new content, which I do every week. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this, and if there's another song you want me to take on and do a similar lesson. And until next week, take care, everybody.